Hey, people of God, I just wanted to come on real quick and just share something that just laid on my heart. Actually, it's a frustration that I was experiencing, and God just took me to a word, and I thought, why not maybe share that with everyone? So it's very frustrating when it's like you're in your little corner trying to like mind your own business, and then you kind of feel like God impresses on your heart a call, or you feel like there's a call of God upon your life. Maybe you've heard that voice of his call. You've been through the study of his word, through impartation, through the word of prophecy or revelation or whatever the case may be. And you know that God has called you to do something, let's say to worship or to sing or to minister to the people. But it's almost as if every time you attempt to do that which God has called you to do, you sort of like meet a resistance. And at the back of your mind, you kind of feel like the resistance that you're experiencing is an answer to the fact that God hasn't called you. And oftentimes that may be very discouraging, especially in the climate we find ourselves when, it seems like all hell is breaking loose around us. It's very, very frustrating for children of God to find ourselves in a place where we just want to give up. We just want to stay in a little bubble, in a little corner, and not do anything to ruffle any feathers, or even say like, do something that would get people talking. So oftentimes you retreat, or we retreat into our corner. So I was just thinking about, because, I kind of feel like, I want to worship, I want to, sing to God, but I don't have an amazing voice. I mean, I'm an okay singer. I have a lot of challenges with learning songs and stuff like that. So I have all these reasons in my head, which is so valid as to why, I can't sing. I struggle a lot. And in the past couple of months, I've had a lot of health challenges and scare that, at some point in time, I couldn't even talk. I started stammering and just forget words and stuff like that. So singing and stuff and worshiping was completely out of the table for me. But when God touched me and I'm experiencing the healing of God and still believing God for a complete healing and restoration of my health, I've come to understand when I was reading something in the book of Psalms where David said that, he will rise up early in the morning and bless and worship God. And I figure, why not? Why can't I worship God? Why can't I bless God? And in that same instance, why can't I share that worship with the world and encourage people to also, adore God for who he is, and for not only for what he's done, but just because he is God. And oftentimes whenever like I try to like record a song or something, my voice would do this thing that just is not working. Whatever it is that I'm doing in my head, this is not working. This is not what I'm called to do. I should just stop and be in my little corner. And usually my best excuse would be there are better singers, or people who are armed with better omniscience and better sound and better tunes, and, have this texture to their voice that can sing and make sweet melodies to God. Why me? Why me? And today, whilst I was trying to record a song, and Obibesi and I was discouraged. And in my head, I was like, God, this is why I don't even attempt to do anything. And God was just reminding me, those days, just a couple of months back when I couldn't even speak, and when I attempted to speak, I couldn't remember my words and I was stumbling. And I remember saying in my heart, oh my God, it doesn't matter how my voice sounds. I'm still going to bless God. I'm still going to worship God. I'm still going to lift up the name of God and just bless him for who he is and what he is, because he's an amazing God. So coming back to now in the presence where I kind of feel like, oh, this that I'm doing is really not working. And like, I just want to give up. And God was reminding me about Moses. So Moses in Exodus chapter 3 was just, tending the flock, was just minding his business. And God appears to him and say, hey, I'm going to send you to the people of Israel in Egypt, because I've heard their cry and, yada, yada, yada. I mean, God is calling this man who, in his mind is not worth it. He's killed somebody, he's in exile, in his mind, he's an unwanted person with a lot of limitations. And here God is telling him that he's somebody who has been called to go back to the people who were looking for him, to the place where they were looking for him to potentially kill him or destroy. And he's telling God, no, you're not listening to me. The people will not listen to me, first of all, because, I have all these limitations. So he's telling God, Moses is telling God in Exodus chapter 3, he said, I'm a stammerer, I stammer, I can't talk, I'm not eloquent with my words. And God said, I will still use you regardless. And God gives him all the reason why, he was the one that he had chosen to lead the people of Israel out of captivity. And I'm just here and I'm like, and we know the story of how, God just used Moses mightily. And along the way, it was still the doubt and the frustration of Moses that actually prevented him from entering into the promised land. And so I'm just here, I don't know what it is that God has called you to do. Sometimes you may not have the best of resources. Sometimes, trust me, the voice, it's just not working. But I've come to understand that if the melody, if it pleases the heart of God, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing this? If the reason why you're doing it is God and that the people of God will be blessed, it says that the giftings of God are given for the edification of the church, for the encouragement. So even if whatever tune or whatever you would sing might just be a blessing to just one person, I think it's still worth it. And it's easy when we allow the enemy to speak to our minds and discourage us and prevent us from doing the very little we can. When we do what we can, God will bless it. God will send the resources. The Travis Greens and the Tasha Cobbs and, the Karen Clark Sheards and all these amazing men and women of God did not start where they are. The TD Jakes, he started from, little, state, Southern State in West Virginia. We all have to start from somewhere. The most important thing is that you need to know if God has called you. Once you know that you've been called and you know that what you're doing is pleasing to God, He's the only person that matters. People may talk. It might not be everybody's taste. People will criticize, people will say everything that they want to say. But if it's just for one person, there are times like, I'm so down and discouraged, and then maybe I might hear a word of encouragement for a brother or a sister, and I'm reaching out to them. I'm like, like, what am I saying? This person will probably think I'm crazy or I'm not minding my business. And sometimes I go ahead and I reach out to them and maybe I give them whatever encouraging word as God has laid upon my heart. And it turns up, changing the trajectory of their day and encouraging them, to know that God hears them and God listens to them and that their prayers are being answered by God, So sometimes, in the moment when God speaks to us, it may not make sense. In the moment when we're doing certain things, it may not make sense. I'm probably doing this video and rambling and I don't know, probably nobody will watch it. But the point of it is, whatever it is that God has given you to do, do it as unto the Lord. Don't do it for the accolades of man. Sometimes you might make a video and I'm speaking to myself and nobody will watch it. And you'll be like, oh, so it is, that bad or it's, but trust me, if it is to glorify God, and your heart is in the right place and you're doing it for the absolute glorification of God and a testament of the covenant that you have with God, that indeed He has set you apart and called you onto something greater. You still got to start from somewhere. Jesus, even though He was a son of God, He didn't just stand up. He had to go through the process. He had to be born as a child. He had to go through. He got lost. The whole son of God, He got lost. He had to go through the motions of being a man so that He could go on the cross and save us. So though the beginning may be small, I'm just here to encourage you. The latter will be greater. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep holding on. Keep pressing on. There's bigger and better on the way. No matter what happens, just make sure that it's glorifying God. No matter what happens, just make sure you're not doing it for the applause of man. Your glory is in heaven. Your reward is not on earth. Your reward is in heaven. And if along the line other people are blessed, or you get some likes and subscribers and all that jazz, or whatever it is that we want to do in this social media era, praise be to God. It's all good and dandy. If not, just continue to do you. You might be called for just one person. Your ministry might just be that one person. And maybe that one person is the one that might bring revival to the United States. And maybe that one person is the one that, is coming to change the world that we live in. So don't give up. Don't give up. Don't be like Moses. Don't be like me. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Much love.